Life with Brian is brought to you by General Motors of Canada.
For Darryl Lesser, time is something to be treasured. All watches tell time, but he goes for the vintage ones. And he's got a pretty good collection to prove it.
You have dials, you have cases, you have movements for the...
Look anywhere at Darryl Lesser's basement and you'll find watches.
Some of them, they're just, really different. Like you have a railroad grade here, Waltham. You have a military Elgin over here with a black dial. You have an 18-karat gold chain fusee from about 1840-ish.
There are drawers and drawers of watches and parts.
These are just pocket watches that I can restore or I can cannibalize if I have to. And then you have a canoe, a canoe full of watches. Perfect.
How many does he have? Well, it's a lot.
They had about 20,000. All in, like, some of them are partial, some of them are completed, some of them are in restoration areas.
For Darryl, it all started at a flea market. He says he needed a watch and ended up buying 4 for $20. One of them turned out to be a Rolex.
And I finally went to a watchmaker and he offered to buy it for me for a good amount of money. And the bells and whistles went off and boom, it was born. My interest was born.
That was 10 years ago. Since then, Darryl has become a watchmaker specializing in vintage watches.
Like an old car that's really well taken care of, you hear that special whoomp on the door. It's the same thing when you have a vintage movement. They just run beautifully.
Most of them are sold on the internet and through word of mouth. It's a good business. On the day we visited, Darryl was wearing one of his favorites, an old Rolex.
Quite costly.
How costly?
You can buy a BMW if you wanted to. I just love what I do. I can't put in more words than that. It's a love. It's a passion.
What time is it?
You tell me. In Hong Kong or here?
You got them all.
I have them all.
Darryl Lesser wouldn't give a new watch the time of day.
It's about 1890 bar movement.
If you know an interesting character we could profile on Life with Brian, you can email us at lifewithbrian@ctv.ca.